You believe there are 5 stages of therapy?
Yes.
Kind of like the 5 stages of grief they talk about?
A little bit like that. Yeah, a little bit like that. The 5 stages that I have found, I didn't make this up, I found it to happen as a therapist. The first stage is when a person comes and they have to identify their problem. They have to actually be able to label it. Most people will come and say, oh, well, I'm not happy with this and whatever. But they don't really know what their problem is. They know they're unhappy. So we have to actually find out what their problem is. And believe it or not, that can take quite some time. Then the next stage is an acceptance that the problem is there and learning what needs to be done to change that. The second stage is finding out whether the person wants to change. And that in itself also takes quite a long time because I have a lot of knowledge about what it will take. So I do tell people what they're going to have to do, what they're going to have to do differently, the pain they're going to have to go through to change particular things, the habitual patternings they're in and their behaviour and the way they live. And so sometimes people do act, very rarely, but they do decide, that's not for me. They found out what's wrong, they don't want to change, and that's better to bail then. So then the third stage is learning actually what needs to be done to change, to get rid of their problem or work through their problem. And that also can be quite a long stage. Usually I encourage people to observe themselves a lot and then work it through in their daily life. Of course, a lot happens in a therapy session. So then the next stage after that is applying it, really applying it fully in their lives. So that's a 4th stage. And that brings up problems all of the time. They find they can't handle it or they don't want to confront somebody or whatever the issue is. Number 5 is enjoying the fruits of the work that's been put in throughout the whole course of therapy. And I like for people to stay around a bit when that is happening because it is very enjoyable. It's wonderful. And often people in therapy say, oh, gee, I feel so good now, but I don't know what I did. And that's a very important part, to enjoy feeling better, but keep reminding oneself that one had to go through so much to get to that point. It's a very important part.
Well, I think it's an interesting idea to keep going to therapy once you're happy.
Yes.
You know?
Yes,
Because
for a
people
short
usually
while.
think,
Yeah.
now I'm done.
Yeah,
But maybe they
course.
leave too soon.
Well, I think in my kind of work I have to admit that people do enjoy, in the end, once they're through lots of traumatic stages, they enjoy me and what else I can offer, which is just my knowledge and my experience, and they can enhance what they've learned on a daily or weekly basis for a little while.